Have you ever wondered why America, a country that dominates in almost every global sport, just can't seem to figure out soccer? How is it that the same nation that gave us Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, and Tom Brady struggles to compete in a game that the rest of the world plays every day? Why does American soccer suck? Let's dive deep into this question, peeling back the layers to uncover why this global powerhouse falters in the world's favorite sport, and what needs to change. Let me take you to a typical Saturday morning in suburban America. On a neatly trimmed field, a group of kids, no older than 10, are running through soccer drills. They're wearing matching uniforms, their cleats are brand new, and their parents are lined up on the sidelines. Some are cheering, but many are just watching, sipping their lattes or scrolling on their phones. The vibe is polite, almost detached. Now picture a street in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Kids are playing soccer barefoot. The ball? Maybe it's an old can or a bundle of socks tied together. There are no uniforms, no drills, no sidelines filled with quiet spectators. It's loud, it's chaotic, and it's deeply passionate. These kids aren't playing because it's Saturday and they're signed up for soccer. They're playing because they love it. Because soccer to them isn't just a sport, it's a way of life. That contrast right there, that's the heart of the issue. In the United States, soccer often feels like an activity. In much of the rest of the world, it's an obsession. Let's talk about the first major problem: pay to play. If you're not familiar, pay to play means that for kids to join elite soccer teams, parents have to fork out thousands of dollars every year. We're talking about fees for travel teams, tournaments, equipment, and coaching. For families who can afford it, their kids get access to the best training, the best facilities, and the best opportunities. For families who can't, their kids, no matter how talented, are left behind. Now compare that to how soccer works in Brazil, Spain, or even smaller countries like Croatia. Kids don't need money to play. They don't need expensive gear or private coaches. If they're talented, they'll be noticed. Scouts will find them in the streets, in the parks, wherever they're playing. And once they're found, they'll be developed, free of charge. In these countries, talent rises because it's nurtured. In America, talent often fades because it can't afford to shine. This pay-to-play model doesn't just hurt individual players, it hurts the entire sport. How many potential stars have been lost because their families couldn't pay for them to join an elite team? How many Christian Pulisics never had the chance to step onto a soccer field? Now let's shift to the professional level. Major League Soccer, or MLS, has come a long way since it started in 1996. The stadiums are impressive, the fan experience is fun, and the league has attracted some big names. But here's the hard truth. MLS still feels like a second-tier league on the global stage. Why? For one, the level of competition just isn't there. MLS is often seen as a retirement league. It's where European stars go when their best years are behind them. Meanwhile, in leagues like the Premier League or La Liga, the best players in the world are battling it out every week, in their prime, for glory. And then there's the structure of the league itself. In Europe, teams face promotion and relegation. If a team finishes at the bottom of the Premier League, they're sent down to a lower league. It's humiliating, it's costly, and it's the ultimate motivator. Every game matters because the stakes are sky high. In MLS, there's no promotion or relegation. The same teams play in the same league every year, no matter how poorly they perform. That lack of stakes makes the league feel, well, safe. And soccer isn't supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be thrilling. But perhaps the biggest disappointment lies with the US men's national team. Remember 2018? When the US failed to qualify for the World Cup? It wasn't just a bad day, it was a national embarrassment. The World Cup is the pinnacle of soccer, the event that brings the entire planet together. And America, with all its resources, couldn't even make it to the starting line. The problem with the national team ties back to development. In the US, youth soccer programs often prioritize athleticism over skill. Coaches look for kids who are big, fast, and strong, kids who can outrun or overpower their opponents. But soccer isn't just about speed or size, it's about intelligence, vision, creativity. The best players in the world, Messi, Modric, Iniesta, they don't dominate because they're the biggest or the fastest. They dominate because they think 3 steps ahead. They see spaces that others don't. They control the rhythm of the game. And that kind of intelligence isn't being nurtured in American youth soccer. Now let's talk about culture. Soccer in America often feels like a hobby, something kids do until basketball or football season starts. In most other countries, soccer is more than a sport, it's an identity. Clubs aren't just teams, they're lifelines. In England, a team like Manchester United isn't just supported, it's lived. fans pass down their allegiance through generations. In Argentina, the passion of Boca Juniors fans is legendary. They chant, they sing, they cry, they live and die for their team. In the US, soccer hasn't reached that level of cultural integration. Sure, there are passionate fans, but for most people, soccer isn't life. It's an option, something to watch if nothing else is on. But here's the thing, it's not all bad. Soccer in the US is growing. Attendance at MLS games is rising. The women's national team is a global powerhouse. Players like Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, and Gio Reyna are proving that Americans can compete at the highest level when they're given the right opportunities. And then there's the 2026 World Cup. Co-hosted by the US, Canada, and Mexico, this event could be a game changer. It's a chance to ignite a true soccer culture in America, to show the world and Americans themselves what this country is capable of in the beautiful game. So, what needs to change? First, the pay-to-play system has to go. Soccer needs to be accessible to everyone, regardless of income. That means more grassroots programs, more scholarships, and more community outreach. The next Messi or Ronaldo could be out there right now, but if they can't afford to play, the world will never know. Second, MLS needs to raise the stakes. Imagine if the bottom teams faced relegation. Suddenly every game would matter. Fans would be more invested. The league would feel alive. Finally, America needs to embrace soccer as more than just a sport. It needs to embrace the passion, the chaos, the heartbreak, and the joy that makes soccer the global phenomenon it is. It's not about perfection, it's about heart. But let's not stop here, because this isn't just about what's wrong, it's about what's possible. Let me tell you another story. Imagine a young girl in a small town in California. Her name is Maria, and soccer is her escape. Every evening after school, she runs to the dusty park in her neighborhood, kicking a worn-out ball against a chain-link fence. She doesn't have fancy cleats or a uniform, but she dreams big, so big it scares her. She wants to play for the national team, to represent her country on the world stage. One day, a local coach notices her. He's impressed by her determination and skill, but when he suggests she join a travel team to get noticed by scouts, Maria knows it's impossible. Her family can barely make rent. How can they afford the thousands it costs to be part of the pay-to-play system? Her dream doesn't die right away, but over time it fades, until it's just a memory of what could have been. Now, imagine if Maria had been born in Barcelona or Sao Paulo. There, her talent might have caught the eye of a scout working for a club academy. Her journey wouldn't depend on her family's income. It would depend on her skill, her passion, and her drive. In the US, we're losing countless Marias to a system that values profit over potential. And this doesn't just hurt aspiring players. It hurts the fans too. Think about what it means to root for a team that truly represents you. In England, clubs like Manchester City and Liverpool have roots that go back over a century. Fans feel connected to their teams because those teams are part of their history, their identity. In the US, MLS clubs feel newer, less connected to the communities they serve. And while some fan bases, like those for Seattle Sounders or Portland Timbers, are passionate and loud, it's hard to compare that to the unbridled chaos of a Boca Juniors game in Argentina or a Borussia Dortmund match in Germany. Why? Because in many places, soccer isn't just entertainment. It's a way of life. It's an escape. It's where communities come together to celebrate, to mourn, and to hope. That's something American soccer hasn't fully captured yet, but it could. Here's the exciting part. There's a path forward. Change is hard, but it's not impossible. Imagine this. First, we break down the pay-to-play model. Community-driven programs, corporate sponsorships, and government support could create free or low-cost leagues where every child, regardless of income, can play. Look at Iceland, a tiny country with limited resources. They invested heavily in youth soccer, building fields and training coaches. The result? Iceland made it to the World Cup in 2018. If they can do it, why can't the US? Second, MLS needs to evolve. What if we introduced promotion and relegation, or at least created higher stakes for performance? Teams would fight harder, fans would care more, and the league would start to feel like it truly belongs in the global soccer conversation. And finally, the culture needs to grow. That starts with us, the fans, supporting local teams, sharing the stories of players, and creating traditions that matter. It means embracing the messiness of soccer, the heartbreak and joy that make it so special. Let's be honest, soccer will never replace American football or basketball in the US, but it doesn't need to. It just needs to find its own place. And maybe that starts with us asking the hard questions. Why does American soccer struggle? And how do we make it better? Soccer is called the beautiful game for a reason. It's not just about skill or strategy, it's about connection. It's about seeing a part of yourself in the players on the field, feeling a shared joy when your team wins, and a shared heartbreak when they lose. American soccer has the potential to give that to millions of people, but it starts with change. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time. So, why does American soccer suck? It's not because of a lack of talent. It's because of a system that prioritizes business over passion, structure over creativity, money over love for the game. But it doesn't have to stay that way. The potential is there. The talent is there. The question is, will America finally embrace the beautiful game for what it truly is? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.